Welcome everybody. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get started on creating a trading card. Here's your Photoshop icon. If you don't see it, go to the upper right-hand corner where the magnifying glass is and type in Adobe Photoshop, and you'll be able to double-click and open up the application. Okay? So if you don't see it on your dock, make sure you do that. We're going to click on that and open up Photoshop. If you don't see this, it might prompt you to sign in through Google as well. So if you're not signed in through Google, but you'll get an all set indicator when you're signed in to Photoshop. We're going to go online, and the first thing I want to do, if I didn't load up Photoshop, is to sign in to my Drive. So I'm just going to type in Google Drive. And the first thing I'm going to do is enter if you have to enter your email, make sure to enter your full email, and then enter your password to get into your Google account. After doing that, you're going to access your Classroom, Google Classroom. So you go over to this icon here and just circulate and find your Google Classroom icon and go to our class page. What we're going to do right now is we're going to download some templates and the picture that I scanned for you. Go to your classwork section, and under trading cards, you're going to find character drawings, student files. Click on that and double click on the Drive folder. You'll have a folder here that will have a subfolder of your class. Click on your class, find your file, those little three dots in the right-hand corner of your file, click it, and you'll be able to have the option of downloading. Hit download. It's going to download on the computer for you. Okay, then we're going to close out of here, go back to Google Classroom, and we're going to download one more file today. And that's right down here, trading card templates. You're going to do the same thing here. And let's do the card template one. You can do both, but we'll start with the card template one. That's the overall frame for your card. Hit download. Okay, that task is done. Again, we have to be signed in through Google to be able to access our Photoshop program, so make sure you're able to do that. Okay, I'm going to minimize that. And we'll be going searching for an image in a little bit, but first we're going to get Photoshop running. Okay, clicking on right here where it says Finder, you're going to be able to go to a Downloads folder, and you're going to see that you have the images you just downloaded on here. We're going to click the card template one, and click and drag it right into Photoshop, and it will open up just like this. Okay, here is your Photoshop application. We have a few things we're going to talk about. I just would like to move my window to make myself happy. We're going to now download your character directly into the file, like so. Your character will upload. You'll have this box around it. You can grab a corner and minimize the size of your character and just set it up like this and hit return. Once you hit the return, that box will go away with the X and you'll get a smaller box. If you don't see a smaller box like this, make sure you're on the Move tool over here and go to that checkbox and make sure it's checked off. The transform controls will indicate you have a box. That will allow you not only to move your character, but also minimize them and make them larger whenever you want to. We need to follow that rule for any images we want to move around or scale up or down. This is your toolbar. If you highlight over any tool, it tells you what it does and even has short videos that describes what it does. This is your paint palette. This is where you can choose colors. Okay. You can switch between two colors anytime you want. Go to Window here, and you're going to see that I want you to have Layers and Navigator checked off. I want to make sure those windows, so make sure they're checked on, I'm sorry. We want to make sure they're just like that, and your toolbar is definitely checked. Those are things that appear on your screen. This is your navigator. It allows you to scroll away from your document and as far as you want into and scroll through it very easily when managing around your document. It's a nice tool to have. This is your layer window. Okay. Every layer that I have on here is seen. I have a background layer, a border layer, and your character. And if I click that little eye off and on, it indicates what I'm controlling as well. So when you're highlighted on one of those layers, you're controlling it. So right here, I'm on my figure layer, and I can move them around. And you can see my figure is in front of the frame border, that gray frame border. If I want it behind, I can simply move the frame border above it and let go, and now the frame layer is on top. Think about these layers as like layers on a cake. Whatever you have on the top layer is above everything else, and everything stacks on top of each other. So your background is the white, and then your character's in the middle here, and the border frame is on the top. Okay. I can hover around and spin my character in different directions if I want, to tilt them in any way I want. Always hit return after you move your character. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to change the border frame color. Right here, you might see a paint bucket or it might show the gradient. If you click and hold on that tool, you can switch between the two anytime. Paint bucket is just a fill bucket. You can click any color you want on the color chooser, and then you can go right into that gray frame border and click, and it gives you that color. Now, make sure you're on that layer. If I click there and make a mistake, I can always go to Edit, Undo, and undo that last step I did. My background, I can do the same thing. I can pick any color I want and fill it in. Again, my character doesn't get filled in because my character is separate from the background layer and the frame border. All right, that's simple basic coloring there. But let's say I wanted to kind of do a gradient. Say I wanted to do a fade of one color to another. There's other options we have there. Click and hold here, and you can find your gradient tool. There will be some preset colors already laid out, which we can always change down the road. And there are different types of gradients you can do, or color fades. If I click and drag from this one, I have about 5 colors built into this. See those little circles? If you double click on them, you can change the colors. And if you click and hold them, you can move the colors as well. But if I don't want one of the colors, I can literally click and hit delete. So I'm getting rid of like all these 5 colors. I have 5 colors on from my last project. I just want white to green. And then I can extend and change the variety of gradient I do from any angle I want. When I'm happy with my gradient, I'm actually going to want it as my background. So I'm actually going to drag the gradient below my character so it's part of the background because it's stacked underneath it. Now I have a gradient there. If I wanted my gradient to be part of my frame, I would actually drag my gradient above my frame layer, go to this spot right here and click Create Clipping Mask. A clipping mask sets the gradient inside that layer, and in that case, it's the frame. So I get that gradient there, and you still see my gray background. So that's how you can do gradients and also use clipping masks as well. So the next thing we're going to do is how do we put a picture in from online? We'll say I wanted a picture behind my character. Number one, I think this is the picture I'm going to select, but I do want you guys to see how to save a picture. We never want to take the small picture we find. We want to click on the picture. I'm going to just kind of clear things out to show you because we're going to save your image on the desktop. So I'm going to find an image I like, and I'm not going to drag this one. I'm not going to drag that. I'm going to drag the bigger one that appeared and click and drag that onto my desktop. That will save, all right? And then I'll be able to use that in my Photoshop document. What I'll do is go back to Photoshop. I will literally go on my desktop, click and drag the file right into it, and it will appear. Now, it's on the top layer right now. I don't want it up there. I want it behind my character, so I can move it just like any other file now, but I'm going to stack it below my character layer. So I'm going to drag it below, and now I can stretch it to fit however I want. If you find that a picture doesn't fit the way you want, try another picture you find online. Then hit return once you're all set on your keyboard, and that will set the picture in place. Very good. I can still move my character independently, and there's things I can do with special effects later on. But that's how you set a picture in anywhere you want. One of the last things I'll show you is we're going to talk about the text tool. It's right here. It's a large T symbol. Just make sure it's horizontal text. And when you click on the document, a text layer appears and you'll see some Latin lettering. You can choose any color you want for your text lettering on the fly, and you can always change it later too. So don't be worried today if you can't pick the color you want right away. But just showing you that. What I'm going to do is highlight this lettering and then just type. So I'm going to type clown in red. And after I'm done with that, if I go here, this is how I change lettering styles, but I'll have to highlight just like in a Word document. I can go through here and find a lettering that I like a little bit more than the one that was preset for me. Once done with that, I can hit the move tool and my text layer can be moved, just like an image file, and stretched out to make larger or smaller. Again, just like other files, my text layer appeared on top when I brought it in. I'm going to drag it below the frame so it's behind it, but I can put it anywhere I want. It can be in front of the frame or behind. And if I want it behind my character, I just have to make sure that I drag it behind my character layer so it's behind them as well. You can always edit your text down the road to change colors or anything. Now, we are going to do a special effect really soon, but first I'm going to show this one. If I'm on the text, I can use the warp tool here for text and change and bend the lettering. There are a lot of options here, so you can review that and try that out if you'd like. That's just me trying some different colors. Lastly, I'm just going to delete this layer that I created that I don't need. If I'm on a layer and I want to do a special effect like do an outline around lettering, I can hit the FX window here, hit blending options, and if I want to do an outline called a stroke, I would select stroke. I can change the size of it, the opacity, and also color and whatnot. And here, this is outer glow. I can do fades of color from behind the lettering. And I can play with like the meters there to try different effects. Well, I hope you found this useful. Get to wherever you can today, and we'll keep building on your technique and on the skills you're learning. Thank you.